Hi, my name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today I wanted to talk about holding happiness. Happiness seems to be this elusive thing that simply slips out of one's grasp with just a rapidity and a consistency. I had it, and then there it went again, and I had it again, and there it goes. And I think the largest facet of why we experience this as two-leggeds is because so many two-leggeds have decided that their happiness is a result of their experiences. Their happiness is a result of whatever experience. So if the experience looks like love, if it looks like money, if it looks like health, if it looks like fun, if it looks like experience, then I'm happy. But if it looks like not those things, which we know, like we know the sun will rise, we know life is not ever going to be consistently one perpetual frequency. So we know we're going to taste poisons, toxins in this realm. I mean that literally and figuratively. We're going to really chew on shadow as much as we chew on light. And the tricky thing is that shadow is a great teacher. Poison is a great teacher. There's no other way to make antidotes than to interact with poison. So one of the core foundations for holding happiness is understanding that it is a decision. And it is a decision you are either choosing to make or not. And the decision is yours. You're so free, you can choose misery. That's how free you are. So fundamentally, for me, I've talked often and will continue to do so because, as I've said in the past, we need to pull out from under the rug all these things that we stuff under there, thinking that we can have this puritanical, beautiful, perfect, little, lovely, ego-appeasing life. Because life is not about just that. There is a primalness to it. There is an ugliness to it. There is a messiness to it. And it is the holistic experience we came to have. So it helps us in our own evolution to deal with all of it, the wholeness of what we're experiencing, so that we can come to understanding, so that we can evolve, so that we can grow, so that we can know. And so, I'm somebody that has experienced a tremendous amount of depression, suicidal ideation, a tremendous amount of darkness. Feels a lot like I've just been chewing on shadow since I got here. And there's a point when that frequency becomes so constant, so consistent, the trauma, the darkness, the suffering, the ugliness that others can hand you, the poison that they constantly pour into cups that they share with you. There's a point at which it becomes unbearable. And it took me half a life to do that. I'm at 45. I feel good. I feel healthy. I feel like I'll live into my 90s probably. But at the halfway marker, I started to realize it's been consistent that this realm offers shadow teacher. That's consistently true. It offers trial and tribulation. It offers quote unquote heartbreak. Not the best affirmation word. But it offers the opportunity to experience the concept of loss because we are choosing and opting in to the delusion of separation, which is why you find yourself in a flesh costume. Everything is energy. It's all a unified field of sameness. But we are pretending this holographic or dreamlike nature called Earth School because we wanted to experience core content, core concepts like love, forgiveness, passion, energy, all of that. And in order to do that, we needed to put on these flesh costumes and dance around in the dream, dance around in the holography so that we can have the opportunity to experience those modalities and ways of being. How can you experience forgiveness if you never get betrayed? How do you activate and experience forgiveness if you never have an experience to forgive? If you haven't judged, you got to judge first. In order to forgive, you got to judge first. Fine. So this facet of holding happiness, the conclusion that I came to at this midlife marker point is that life has quite a bit of song and dance and sweetness. And no matter how dark or challenging any hour gets, there is always something to place the attention on that lifts the spirits, that can cause one to feel grateful for existence. And it's hilarious to listen to myself say these words, because I mean, many of you who know me well know that I have said, like, at various points in my life, like, I'm not grateful for it. It's been a very terrible life, and I'm not grateful for my breath, and I'm not grateful for the water, and I'm not grateful for any of it, because who cares? It's all been terrible. Like, why am I supposed to be grateful for my limbs when it's just been garbage? Take them. I don't need them. So when you faced a lot of darkness, and you faced a lot of shadow, and you faced a lot of poison, and you've dealt with a lot of trauma and trial and tribulation that can come from trauma, like PTSD, like OCD, these different disorders, it's like psychology can be a little judgmental. These different conditions that can be resultant from experience. I would say that it is important to recognize that life will always have variance. It's a roller coaster. And some of us chose some real doozies when it came to the roller coaster ride, I was like, I want mine to just be a straight fall into the pits of hell. And then second half of life, I'll go ahead and ride it, and it can do loops, and we'll have some fun. I will still face trial and tribulation. I will still have darkened hours. I will still have things that really challenge me. I will still have moments when my ego wants to judge. I will still have moments where I get into separation. And the way that I get back to holding happiness, the way that I get back to being a steward of my attitude, a steward of the way that I feel in my now, is by being a steward of my mind, and by being a steward of the things that I choose to think in my given timeline. Let's say you have a job you love, a beloved that you love, and you lose that. You lose that partnership. You lose that job. Now you are sad, and now that is terrible. And now there's just nothing to be happy about because you really valued that partner, that job. Well, first of all, there are 7.9 billion people on the earth. That creates a lot of need, and it creates a lot of jobs, because 7.9 billion people have some consistent and same needs, like releasing waste and consuming food, but also some variant needs, like, oh, I really need to learn the guitar, or I really need to get a new sari, or whatever that is. So with all of that need, there are lots of jobs. There are lots of needs to provide for in this realm. There's lots of opportunity for work. In that same vein, when it comes to relationships, there's 7.9 billion people. That is like lots of people that you could potentially partner up with. And we have a tendency sometimes, to just kind of like want to erase past relationships. Like, ugh, that was a mess. I know I have. I'm like, ugh, had a lot of mess back there. Like, what was that? Ugh. You just want to erase it. But as I age, the more I recognize, like, that served me. It served me to glean understandings of what I will and will not tolerate, what my boundaries are, what I do and do not agree with, who I am in relationship to various experiences. All of it served. So when you have a partnership that ends, you can reflect on, how did this serve me? What did I gain? What did I learn about me in relationship to that particular personality matrix that I can carry with me in my more evolved state because of the learning into my next partnership? So that is a different perspective to hold than like, they're gone, it's over, And I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel sad when you feel sad, or feel mad when you feel mad. What I'm talking about is getting back to holding happiness. How do we get there? A lot of people are not happy because they're complaining all the time about all kinds of things. A lot of people experienced this previous year with all kinds of, murder hornets and pandemic, and now I got to wear a mask, and these people aren't getting vaccinated, and blah, 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 blah. And just every little thing that came about in this past year was used as a means to complain. Here's what sucks. It's like, okay, yeah, you know what sucks is getting tortured, raped, and then murdered. That sucks. There's lots of things that suck down here. Also, what's great is that we always have something to turn the attention to that is a blessing. Even if your life exits by being tortured, raped, and murdered, ultimately, while those experiences are happening to you, you are the steward of your consciousness. You are the steward of how you hold it. The rapist and murderer cannot decide for you how you're going to choose to hold that moment, what you're going to choose to focus on, where you're going to put your attention. And I would say where you place your attention may as well be your intention, because it will become your manifestation. So if you want which I do, and maybe you don't, and then this video isn't for you, just turn it off. But if you want a life worth living, if you want a life that is worth being excited about, being elated to be a part of, then that means understanding that the ebb and the flow of life will always go the way that it goes, up and down, up and down. It moves in this rhythmic, oceanic-like wave movement, like your particle waves in the microcosm. It moves and it flows. And the question is, how can you choose to turn your attention more and more and more when the news, when that song of blues, when these things come through and they bring you down, how can you choose to turn your attention? Like, oh, I'm so grateful I get to feel sad right now as I hear this song and it makes me think about my breakup. It's so good to just dig in on that sorrow, as opposed to like, nobody's ever gonna love me. You know, can you recognize that each of your hours, each of your moments, each of your nows, every second you've ever had is a grace. When you are complaining about your life, and one way you can check in is just check your social media. Is it all positive? Are you loving everything everyone says, or are you just kind of liking and occasionally talking about what you do and do not like? Like, you can see how much you can complain. You can also see, because some people aren't being authentic on social media. Maybe it's full of fluff and pomp and circumstance, but really, as you were typing much of that, you remember how negative you were being. You can also just record yourself. Use your phone recorder and record yourself while you talk and listen to what's coming out of this mouth hole of yours. Because complaints are like garbage. It's like you choose in that moment to chew on trash, and you're chewing with your mouth open and spitting that trash on everyone else around you. So you're just chewing on trashy thought, and here's more of it for y'all. Let me tell you about my trashy, horrible thought. Now, there can be virtue sometimes in venting. Sometimes we can try to internally coach ourselves and process too much. And you can always go to a friend and say, hey, I need a vent. If you have something you need to vent about, can you just like hear me and just let me just dump this out of my vessel, and then I would be happy to receive you. I'm not saying to not ever do that, but many of us get into a rhythmic, habituated pattern of complaining about our lives, complaining about what doesn't work. Now, here's the thing about this realm. It is a reflection of what you focus on. Here's another way I've always said that. All of your prayers are answered. Everything you think and say is a prayer. So if you don't like the quality of your life, stop offering negative prayers to the cosmos for the cosmos to then answer and deliver to you. Because it's like, order up, order up. It's like, here's another thing to complain about. Order up. Yes, more of that, please. More to complain about. Give me more to complain about. The universe has no judgment of what you choose to say. It simply delivers what you think and say and what you feel each day in response to your thoughts and words. So the whole work is actually simple math. Addition, positives, get them in your mouth. Pepper your life up with positive statements. You know, what I'm grateful about with this pandemic is the way it got so many cars off the road, and the way that I, as an introvert, got to go home and be alone for a second. I feel like I've needed that my whole life. Or I, like, as an extrovert, that I was given a minute to appreciate how much my friends and family mean to me and how much I value those hugs. Like, literally every topic in the universe, you are choosing how to tell that story. And that story becomes the life that you live. And I do believe every two-legged is worthy and deserving of great happiness. In order to have that, in order to hold that, in order to experience that and be present with a joyous, happy life, one would need to be speaking in the pluses and the positives of what is working and what is adding to the quality of one's life. If we just speak in the negatives, then the universe assumes, oh, they're like a dark hole void, just keep throwing garbage at them. And then you keep speaking garbage and you keep getting garbage thrown at you, and you keep going, why is it raining garbage all the time? Well, it's because it's coming out of your mouth, and your entire life experience is a reflection of your mouth, and your mouth is a reflection of your thoughts, and thought is cause. So what we do is we just say, I forgive myself. I forgive myself for all the complaining, all the negative thoughts, all the negative speaking that I've been doing. I choose to hold happiness, and I'm going to do that by peppering in positivity and by always looking, even in a trying hour, to find what the gift is that it is giving me. Because no doubt, we seek problems so that we can have their gifts or learnings. Go to rarebirdmedicine.com, click on the classes link, lots of new stuff coming up there, and you can always subscribe on YouTube. Blessed be.